Khloe Kardashian, the Red Tiger from Voltron, Fran Tarkenton, Joe Montana, Joe Montana.
Welcome back to Does It Go Hard? Today is going to be a really special episode of Does It Go Hard? Because, again, I'm not reviewing a film. I know, I said I was going to review more movies and stuff like that and video games, which I do have a video game review planned. Like, I'm still kind of in the writing process of it, or at least taking notes for it. But don't worry, movie reviews and game reviews are definitely coming. Just please give me some more time. It takes time to do these things, okay? But other than that, I am here to review another series. Yes, last time, the last review that I posted was for the Book of Boba Fett on Disney+, and now we're actually changing it up a bit. Actually, a lot, if I'm being completely honest. Today, I'm going to be reviewing you guys Peacemaker, or DC's Peacemaker on HBOMax. I was actually looking forward to this very much. I loved James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. As someone that really just hated that first Suicide Squad movie by David Ayer, I was just like, man, this shit sucks. I don't know if I want to watch another movie with these characters because they're boring, they're uninteresting, they have no personality. I think the only character that has some sort of personality is Will Smith's character and Harley Quinn, and that's pretty much it. But James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, I absolutely loved. It is one of my favorite films of last year, and I think it's honestly one of the best movies out of all the DC movies that have come out. I think DC is actually improving a lot on the material that they're kind of coming up with. And when I found out that they were actually going to make a series on one of the characters, Peacemaker, for HBO Max, I actually was excited because I was like, oh, it's a prequel, and they're gonna give me a little bit more information on this character that I actually like. The character's an asshole, okay? Let me just say that. But I liked his character, and John Cena really actually proved himself to be a really good comedian actor in that film. The fact that he actually has good comedic timing and he's actually talented, like, that movie really proved to me that, okay, like, John Cena is not just a big, dumb, like, strong guy that tries to be the funny guy, you know? Like, he actually has talent to him. Well, let me just get straight to it, okay? A little bit of a synopsis of what the Peacemaker series is all about. So Peacemaker is actually not a prequel, it's actually a sequel to the movie, to the Suicide Squad, which I think was pretty obvious if you watched the film and you watched one of the credit scenes in the Suicide Squad where they literally show you that somehow, some magical way, this guy that got shot through the neck and a huge building just collapsed on top of him, survived. That's what I'm gonna talk about in a minute. But okay, whatever. He survives, and now he's probably this kind of Black Ops type team, led by a bunch of really, let's just be clear, like a lot of side characters that really didn't matter that much from the Suicide Squad, and it's all about finding out what this whole butterfly project is. So the butterfly project is very much similar to the starfish project in the Suicide Squad, where, okay, there's a bunch of alien creatures here for some reason, for what, I don't know, I'm not gonna tell you. It's up to this team with Peacemaker and some other fun characters to not only find out the whole deal with this butterfly project, but also seeing how Peacemaker himself, or by his real name, Chris Smits, is dealing with his past while at the same time trying to work together with this Black Ops team, formed also by Viola Davis's character, Amanda Waller, from the Suicide Squad as well. And that's pretty much the basic summary I can give you about this series. If I went longer, I would go through spoiler territory, and I don't think I want to do that right now. But let's actually start the review now. So, again, I just want to preface this, okay? I actually like how the series starts. The first episode is it's great. It's super funny. It's so hyperactive. Like it doesn't stop for anything, which I like in shows. I feel sometimes like I'm somebody that can actually take slower pacing. I like there's a lot of movies and shows that have definitely a little bit more of a slower pace or a slower tone to them, and I can actually deal with it. I like it. But sometimes with shows, if a show goes too slow, it can become really tedious and really boring and very disengaging for me. Fortunately, Peacemaker is the opposite of that. Yes, it does have some more. It does have some peaceful moments. Definitely, it does have moments of calm. But mostly the show is very quick. Like let's get through all of this, you know. And I like that. I really like the fact that the show is fast paced and it doesn't try to meander with a lot of things, because that's another thing a lot of shows tend to do, is that they like to focus on things too much to the point where I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, can we please move on to the next thing? Fortunately, Peacemaker is not like that. But again, going back to what I was talking about, the first episode, because it's a sequel to the Suicide Squad, the episode literally starts with Peacemaker in the hospital, like completely cured, completely somehow magically cured of the fact that he got shot through the neck and an entire huge building collapsed on top of him. It's like how the hell do you even survive something like that? Like, I know this is a comic book universe and it's supposed to be like fantasy fiction, but at the same time I'm like, you really need to explain this, because if you don't, it might affect my feelings on the show later on, especially if the show is not good. But do they explain it? They actually don't. Believe it or not, the show does not even bother. Like, it's borderline silly how much the show doesn't care. Literally, the only explanation they give to his survival of that is that, wow, you're the luckiest man. It's like, that's not a good excuse, okay? That's not a good reason for me to believe this, okay? Just saying, oh, you were just very lucky is not a good excuse, okay? But whatever. I guess for the show that it is, it works okay. But I don't know. I guess when ridiculous shit like that happens, I expect a good reason. If you are going to continue the story of this character after they went this incredibly painful, I guess, quote unquote, death. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me that I just can't take like such a simple excuse to bring this character back. But whatever. Other than that, the episode is great. John Cena again proves himself to be really good as a comedic actor. Again, he has a lot of good comedic timing, which again is proven in the Suicide Squad. But one of the things that I really found myself impressed, even in the first episode, and it improves as the series goes along, is how this series actually proved to me something that never in my life I ever thought I would say. But my God, John Cena is actually incredibly talented, even in dramatic moments. John Cena in this series has proven to me that he can be very good as a dramatic actor. It's honestly kind of impressive, the fact that he's this good when it comes to the more dramatic and more mellow moments in the series, especially considering the backstory of his character. His character has probably some of the most just screwed up like origin stories. It's actually incredibly messed up how he became the character that he is, you know? And mainly it's because of his father. The fact that James Gunn actually made me care for such a ridiculous character like Peacemaker. And I think that's the magic, again, of just James Gunn as a writer and director. The fact that he can actually make you sympathize and actually like characters that never in your life you would have ever thought you would consider like cool or interesting characters. Like especially in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Never in my life I ever thought, wow, I'm gonna really like a movie where there's a talking raccoon and a big giant alien tree monster. Like no, like never in my life I would ever say that, but because James Gunn is so talented uh behind the camera in terms of directing, but also with the pen writing, he really makes these ridiculous, outlandish characters work. And they pull your heartstrings a lot. And it's impressive how this guy has the talent to do that with, again, with characters that are absolutely ridiculous. The other positives, like again, I already like some of the positives I've already mentioned about, of course, John Cena actually proven to be a good actor, not only comedically but dramatically. James Gunn's incredible talent behind camera as a director and writer, but also the side characters. Like this Black Ops team, I really like. I really actually liked all the characters. Like for a second, I was like, man, like I can see myself enjoying like maybe two of these guys, but I don't see myself liking all of them. Like I can really pinpoint where some of these characters could become really boring or uninterested or like, okay, I get it. You're the funny guy. You're the serious guy. You're the stone cold guy. You are the, I guess, the fish out of water person here. You know, like it can get annoying easily, but it never gets annoying, and they actually make you care for each one of these characters in their own different right, which is something that I really appreciated. I can say that probably my favorite characters in the show, uh, you know, besides Peacemaker himself, Chris, but probably it would be honestly this character called Economos. I really like his character just because he's kind of the typical nerdy guy. Like you can actually see him as somewhat of a competent person, even though he makes some really dumbass mistakes in this show. But I really liked him. Another character, her name always leaves my head. But what's her name? God, I can't think of her name right now. What's wrong with me? Adebayo, yes, Adebayo. I really liked her character. She's kind of like the quote unquote fish out of water character in the show, but I really loved her, especially the friendship that starts to build up between her and Peacemaker is absolutely incredible. I love it. And there's some really good dramatic moments with her as well. It's honestly impressive how much these secondary characters was actually invested in as well as the main character. It's very hard for a lot of shows and for a lot of movies to make me not only care for the main character himself, but also care for kind of the other characters, the characters besides the main character. And I think it's very impressive how this show really did do a good job on making me care for everyone, except for, of course, obvious people like the dad. And again, that's a negative that I'll go into in a bit. But another positive, the directing is incredible. I mean, I already talked about James Gunn, okay? But I didn't really go into specifics of the directing. James Gunn just has this incredible talent of just directing things very, very quickly and with just such pizzazz that I love it. Like it to me, like the way James Gunn directs his films, it's like eye candy. Like I absolutely love it. Like I can watch any James Gunn movie, like, and I can absolutely just be invested by, in like even like characters and writing aside, just looking at how the film is filmed is just such a treat for the eyes. Like man, this guy is a huge, incredible talent, man. And again, another positive, the writing is super strong. The comedy is on point all the time. Like, I was laughing through this thing a lot of times. Another positive for this series is, again, just like the Suicide Squad, this is an R-rated series, okay? It's very R-rated, What that means is that there is going to be a lot of graphic things here. This show does not hold back on the violence. Like, this show goes absolutely wild. Just like the Suicide Squad, the violence is grotesque. And my last positive is actually reserved to one character, and this is not really a spoiler because it's very much a character that is shown in the trailers, and it's the character of Vigilante. I love this character. This is another character that I consider my favorite because he is such a psychopath. He is insane. Like, when I say insane, like, I mean, like, he's fucking insane. He has, like, very little sympathy for human life, that it's hilarious. And again, it's one of those characters that is clearly dumb, but the character is not aware of how dumb he is, so he never does anything to kind of change that. So it's really cool. And again, just like Peacemaker, he also gets his moments where you actually get to feel sometimes a little bit bad for Vigilante, even though he's kind of fucking crazy. One positive I just wanted to mention really quickly is how the show actually is consistent all throughout. A lot of shows, unfortunately, fall through the cracks of some episodes have actual meaning and purpose to the overall story, but then there's also other episodes where it just feels like, we're just kind of fucking around for the sake of fucking around, you know? Peacemaker's not like that. Every episode feels integral to the overall plot of the entire series. So it never feels like any time is wasted. It never feels like, this is kind of useless. This is kind of dumb. I don't know why they're focusing so much on this. There's one thing that I will talk about in my negatives. The show is consistent all throughout in terms of focusing mainly on the main plot, while also having all these extra conflicts on the side that are very well intertwined with the overall conflict of the entire series, which is something that is hard to pull off, especially in TV shows. But the fact that they actually made it work here and it feels so natural from beginning to end is very impressive, and I applaud that so much. Now we're getting into some negatives, which, I'll be honest, there's not many. Like, there's not a lot to complain about this series, because it's overall just great. It's a great series, and overall, I just had a lot of fun with it. But it does have its little downfalls that really started to get on my nerves a little bit, and that just kind of annoyed me from time to time. And again, some stuff that I felt that was kind of useless or that I felt was very much underutilized. But let me start with my first negative. My first negative really has to do with Peacemaker's dad. Again, the fact that one of the villains in the series is a racist, homophobic, just horrible white supremacist guy is great, because already that's like a perfect villain for me to hate. I absolutely hated his dad because I hate those people. I hate white supremacists. I hate racists. I hate homophobes. I hate those people. I hate conservatives. I hate those disgusting people. But his dad just becomes kind of an annoying character after a while. I would say that the Peacemaker's dad is the one character that I was wishing for him to die as soon as possible. Like, I already want this character to die because he's a white supremacist, but he gets so annoying through this show that I was just like, can we please get to the episode where they finally kill his fucking dad? My second negative is actually two. It's actually two negatives combined into one, because I thought it was kind of unfair to have them be separate kind of negatives. But it's the way two characters are kind of misutilized here, or underutilized. First of all, and again, I get why one of them is underutilized, and it's Eagly. Peacemaker has a pet eagle named Eagly, and from the trailers, I was so excited because, this is gonna be really cool. There's gonna be this pet eagle is going to be amazing. He's going to be the Groot, the Rocket Raccoon of this show. And he never really is, unfortunately. Again, he's cute. It's a cute eagle, CGI eagle, but still cute. And he actually does some really cool stuff from time to time. But I feel that he's very underutilized. I don't feel that they use him a lot. And when they do use him, it's always for them to use him only as a joke. And again, it's fine because a joke is funny, but I just kind of felt like they could have done a little bit more creative stuff with Eagly. And again, that's just kind of a personal thing, don't get me wrong. The other part of this negative is there's another character. I don't remember the name of the character, but it's a guy dressed in green. And this character, by the trailers and by other things, felt like he was going to play a bigger role in the series. And he never really does. And by the end of the series, you're kind of like, what was the point of this character being here again? Like seriously, by the end, I was like, it's weird that the show randomly wants to focus on this one character, but they don't really do anything with him. Like, at some point, you feel like, oh, he's gonna start as a bad guy at first, but then he's gonna be part of the team, and that's gonna be really cool. But they never do that. They never really do that, and it becomes so repetitive to the point that it's annoying. It feels like they didn't really know what to do with this character, so they just kind of dropped little scenes with him from time to time just for the sake of having him in the show. And I was just like, I don't know if this character is working for me. And ultimately, he didn't really fully work for me. He has some cool fight scenes, I'll say that. But other than that, he doesn't really play that much of a big role or interesting role in the show, which was really disappointing. And my final negative is some of these special effects, at least the CGI ones, sometimes can look a bit rough. Like, they have that quality where sometimes they look good, like in terms of sometimes it looks like film good quality CGI, and sometimes it looks CW level bad. It's very mixed up with this CGI, with those special effects. Especially in one of the episodes, there's a suit, or a character wears a suit, very much an Iron Man-esque suit. And when it's a practical suit, it's effective because, again, it's a real suit. But when it's a CGI suit that's flying over the sky and doing all these extra things, it looks very cheap. Again, it looks something out of a CW show. And it can be a bit distracting at times. But because it's not really that much of a big issue, because there's a lot of practical stuff in the show, it didn't really bother me that much. It's just one of those nitpicks that I'm like, wow, like, this is a HBO show, and it's based on a DC, like, movie. So you would expect them to at least drop a little bit more money into it, but they didn't, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. Especially, and I guess, because we've been spoiled by things like Disney Plus and Amazon Prime, how they're just pouring shitloads of money into these shows to the point where they look like they're film quality. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I've just been so spoiled by how Marvel and Star Wars just pour a lot of money into their live action shows, that watching Peacemaker and seeing sometimes these really questionable CGI effects, it's like, it looks kind of awkward. But again, it's not really a huge problem with me. It was just a little nitpick that sometimes bothered me because it looked obviously wrong sometimes. But other than that, that's pretty much all the negatives that I have. In fact, I even forgot to mention a positive, which is the intro. The intro to this show, which I'm not going to play because it would probably copyright the entire video. But the show has an incredible intro that literally is just an entire musical number with the entire cast of the show. It's hilarious, and it's also just full of energy. It just really shows you what the show is all about. Even with these small negatives, I can still really appreciate this show as what it is, which is just a great DC HBO Max series. And it's really unexpected because even though I loved the Suicide Squad, and even though I was pretty excited for the Peacemaker show, I was like, I don't know. Like, can James Gunn really make a successful series out of this character? And he did. And they just confirmed they're actually doing a second season, so I'm now very excited to what they are going to do in the future with this character. Especially because it kind of ends. It has a satisfying ending. Like, this first season has a satisfying ending. I'll also give that a positive. But it does leave some questions a little bit unanswered. And I do hope they are answered later on in the series. Man, I just had such a good time watching this. Like, this was a surprise to me how good it was. But here's the real question. Does Peacemaker go hard? Well, let me tell you something. There were times where I really wanted to give it goes hard. There are so many points on the show where it definitely deserved that rating. But again, because later on I started to because later on I started to notice these little cracks here and there, again with the father becoming a little bit too annoying to the point where I'm like, please just kill this guy off. Like, I don't want to see him anymore. Like, I already hate him because of the person he is. So just getting rid of him much quicker is going to make this like 10 times better. And again, with these characters that are a little bit cast to the side, like the guy in the green suit and Eagly, the fact that he's just kind of a comedic relief pet, and as well the CGI that sometimes can be questionable from time to time. Even though it did drop it like a bit, it didn't drop it like horribly. Like, this is still a great show. And definitely, while it doesn't go hard, Peacemaker absolutely goes raw. The show is great. It's on HBO Max. If you haven't seen it, please guys, give it a watch because I want more of this. This has the potential to be amazing. And it, again, not only that, it has the potential for in the future to get a goes hard rating. If they keep up the good work and they just build upon the foundation that they kind of built upon in this first season. So definitely excited for season 2 and just had a blast with this first season. I was surprised how much I actually liked it. And the fact that the series actually made me appreciate John Cena more as an actor really was a surprise to me again. I didn't expect it, but I was really happy to see that he won me over. Not only as a actor with good comedic timing, but also an actor that is very much capable of doing dramatic stuff. And to me, that is incredible. The fact that James Gunn really had this confidence in John Cena to be more than just the funny guy, you know? And that's something that I applaud a lot. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. And let me know in the comments, what did you think of Peacemaker? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or did you just kind of think it was just in the middle, kind of okay? I, again, personally thought it was great, and I can't wait to see more. But again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like if you liked the video, and subscribe if you just want to see a little bit more of what I have to offer in this platform. Thank you so much, and have a nice day, or night, or afternoon, or whatever. Whatever, goodbye.
Mario, Super Mario, fucking Luigi, Yoshi, the princess.